Okay, on this portion of the demo, we're going to take a look at permissions. So let's take a look at this Carve demo extended smart contract and application API we just created. You'll notice there's two things here. There's permission file system or permission blockchain. Now this is RINC-B, which is a public network, so it's not possible to permission a public network. So automatically this is just not available on our public networks. If we chose a private network, Circle of Life is one that we provide here at SIMBA Chain, then you would be able to permission the blockchain network at all. That would mean that the information going onto the blockchain itself would be restricted to certain groups and people that belong to those certain groups. But here, what we're allowed to do on a public network is we're allowed to permission the data. So any information, any files that you attach alongside those transactions, the ones that are getting bundled up and stored into the file system, we can permission those and we can set permissions on that. So let's see how we do that. So if this is true, then we can go to the management page and we can look at the organizations that we have, because we can have multiple organizations, and we can look at the applications within those organizations, and we have Car Demo Extended, and we can see that in Car Demo Extended, it's not permission blockchain, but there is a permission file system. So in order to apply those permissions to this API, what we first do is to create a group. So a group, maybe we have a group that is car sales. So let's add a group called car sales, and then let's add another group called car info. So we have two groups in this application. Now each of these groups can set permissions on each of the smart contract methods. So for car info, say this is a group that allows a person, a manufacturer of a car, for example, to post information about the car just made. So in this case, they're not probably interested in transporting cars or car sales or accidents, because it's out of their hands. It's along to the dealers or whatever at that point. But they do want to be able to register the car. So if we set permission for the register car method for set info to be able to read the info and write it, you can also set a time range. So you can say, so the car info group can have access to writing and reading data onto this file system between, for the month of October. But after that, it's not allowed to write anymore. You can apply rules like that. But I'm just going to say it's allowed to basically post information onto this system. And then I click this rule applied button down here, which enables what I've set up there. So this just basically enables you to toggle things on and off. You might want to set up certain permissions and then just turn them off temporarily while you're developing, then turn them on to test the permissions set correctly. So in this circumstance, I'm going to set for car info, I'm going to allow car info group. Any user that's in that car info group can register a car, but they can't do anything else. I'm not going to add other permissions. So by default, these are all false. So I'm going to leave them false. So they can register a car, but they can't sell a car, they can't transport a car, and they can't register accidents. However, the car sales group, they'd be allowed to sell a car, so they would be able to enter information to do a car sale. They can also transport a car to a customer, so they'll be able to access this smart contract method in order to transport a car, and they also could file an accident report. If, for example, the car got damaged in the lot or whatever, they might need to file a report onto the blockchain pertaining to what happened to the car in that particular incident. So that's kind of a simple kind of overview of how we set permissions. These permissions then are baked into the API, and those rules are applied all the way through to protect the methods on the smart contract. And the way it works on the front end, so your application, you have users, and there's an API to attach users to particular groups. And then once that user is in that particular group, the rules that you set here restrict what they can do on the platform. So you can basically set up many groups of users having different functions within the network and have a completely permissioned system with respect to the file system. So the data that you store, the files that you attach to the transactions, or the transactions themselves on a private blockchain.